We are continuing to follow breaking news after a fire breaks out, trapping residents, including children, inside of an apartment building.
Yeah, Larry Collins is streaming live from Lansdowne. He's got the latest details out there as the Red Cross is now helping those residents. But Larry, you were able to speak with them even before the Red Cross showed up this morning.
That's right. Good morning, guys. It is recovery time right now here at this apartment complex. You see folks right now walking out of their units with bags of what they could salvage. And that's really what's going on right now. And those are the people who are still able to get into their units this morning. And we see bags right now of clothing. People are bringing shoes out, any food items they may have. Lots going on. Those that you don't see right now are either meeting with the Red Cross or those who are simply unable to enter their buildings right now. We're talking upwards of 12 adults, 16 children displaced in this fire that started this morning at about 3 a.m. at the Circle Terrace Apartments. Had a chance to speak with the public information officer this morning for Baltimore County Fire, and here's what he told us about several rescues that took place this morning.
They were infant-age children that were rescued. Fortunately, they're okay. We did transport one teenager for observation.
Who was home with the children?
Right now, we know there was an adult in the apartment building at the time.
There was?
Yes.
Okay. Was that person rescued as well? Or?
That person was rescued and removed from the apartment.
Now, the hum of those fire engines we heard all morning long replaced this morning by breaking glass. We can hear just some shattering and clacking going on behind us this morning as folks are assessing the damage in their own units. I can tell you there were 3 units damaged by fire. The rest were damaged with water and smoke. Those people who had the smoke damage, the water damage, they say they're the lucky ones. They can actually enter their building and salvage what they can. For some people, that is not going to be an opportunity. We had a chance to speak with the lady who lived above the area that we think is the origin of that fire. Firefighters told her that her floor is gone. It was a wooden floor. It is no longer there. Firefighters tell me they estimate that where it likely started on that bottom apartment, the fire then crawled up the wall up to the upper levels. So that's the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor. A lot of people right now still meeting with the Red Cross to try to figure out simply what happens next. I'm Larry Collins, Fox 45 Morning News.
Larry, we know it's still early in the investigation. Have you heard anything about a possible cause?
Still no possible cause as of right now. Of course, I think the fire marshal will probably make his way back here a little bit later this morning to really look at the origin. And we're talking the origin. They think it's one of these apartments down here at the bottom, ones with the windows that have been knocked out. We haven't seen fire officials come back since that happened. We've had some of the crew here at the Circle Terrace Apartments, as well as the people who will later board up those apartments. They haven't started boarding them up yet, so you would imagine that the fire officials will likely come back. The fire marshal and the investigation into exactly what may have caused that fire will probably come a little bit later this morning.
Thanks, Larry. Well, welcome back to Fox 45 Morning News. We're looking at 8:34 on this Tuesday morning. I'm Megan Gilland.
I'm Tom Rogers. Rain for everybody, but how long? And will some of us start seeing that rain turn to flurries? Jonathan Myers is here to
It was so nice yesterday.
I know.
We went for a walk.
The good news is right now it doesn't look like a whole lot of flurries. The bad news is there's a lot of rain. So it's a cold rain, too.
Thank you very much, Candace. Happening today, leaders and activists from all across Maryland will attend a rally in Annapolis focusing on police accountability. The rally comes the same day the House Judiciary Committee is holding hearings on legislation that would reform the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights. Organizers say that they are demanding amendments that would affect the treatment of officers being investigated for brutality. Also happening today, major moves in equipping city police vans with cameras. The city's Board of Estimates is set to vote on a contract with Point Blank Enterprises, a Florida company that won the bidding. Baltimore is planning to spend $187,000 to do this job. The decision to install police van cameras comes after Freddie Gray suffered deadly injuries in the back of a police van last year.
For the first time since 1982, the Baltimore City Council votes to override a veto by the mayor. The council's bill would mandate that 3% of the city's budget go directly to fund programs for children and teenagers. Well, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake vetoed that bill because she says the council already has an active role in the budget process. But council members say without the bill, there's no guarantee that from year to year there will be enough funding to pay for those programs.
It has dwindled in areas where other agencies have seen increases in their investment. And so at some point you have to draw a line in the sand and say enough already. This is where we have to begin to turn the tide.
We talk about kids all the time, put your money where your mouth is. And this is doing just that.
Even though the council voted to override the veto, it's a charter amendment, which means it will appear on the November's ballot for Baltimore voters to ultimately decide.
New this morning, the rates of HPV infection seem to have dropped since the CDC recommended a vaccine. A new CDC study shows that in just 6 years, the rate of infection among teenage girls dropped from 11.5% to 4.3%. And for women ages 20 to 24, the rate of infection fell from 18.5% to 12.1%. Starbucks is changing its rewards program, which it claims will speed up service. Under the old program, you'll remember members got 1 star per visit, and it didn't matter how much was actually spent. The new program is based on how much a customer spends, not on the number of transactions. Amazon is increasing how much you'll have to pay to get free shipping. Now you'll have to spend $49 before an order ships for free. That's a 40% increase from the previous minimum of $35. It's not clear when Amazon made that change. Amazon Prime memberships, which cost $99 a year, are not affected by this. Well, remember, you can watch Fox 45 Morning News even after you leave your home. We stream our newscasts to the web and to your mobile device. Easy to find us. Just go to foxbaltimore.com or download the Fox 45 News app. Look for WBFF in your app store, and it's free. Well, coming up, what a difference 24 hours makes. My goodness, as we deal with a wet start to this morning.
And it looks like all day. Jonathan says it's not going to let up anytime soon. He has our rain timeline. That's what he's doing over there in those big, lush chairs. 8:39 is the time. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. As part of our Your Voice series, we're committed to letting you hear from each of the candidates that are running for the next mayor of Baltimore. It's a large field, but several of the candidates have accepted our offer to appear and address you, the voters, on their plan to make a difference right here in Baltimore. Elizabeth Emery is one of those candidates, and she is joining me right now this morning. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me here. I'm excited.
Sure, and I said, as soon as I met you just a couple minutes ago, I said, thank you very much for coming out with a plan. Politicians that not only just talk, besides what we always hear about in media, rhetoric, you actually came down with a plan and said, vote for me because this is what I want to do. In it, you start off specifically going after violence in our city, and you tackle that. Tell me why you have the right to start going with violence and competing against that.
No, thank you so much for asking it. And absolutely, you need a plan. And I have spent my career in government not only making plans, but executing on them and making a difference in our city around violence, driving down violence, but also making our criminal justice system fairer. I've worked in workforce development and also in housing. So I know about how government works and how often it doesn't work. So the plan is based on my experience in Baltimore, what's worked, what hasn't, partners that I've worked with at Hopkins and the police department, partners I've worked with in other cities, like David Kennedy, who's done work in Baltimore. It's based on what's worked in Baltimore, but also what are best practices across the country. And so we talk in the driving down violence section about not just law enforcement interventions, which are so important, and partnerships, but also interventions like Safe Streets, which is a public health intervention that's to stop the retaliatory cycles of violence. And I also talk about, as you know, reentry and the importance of having interventions in the juvenile justice system that keep people out of the system altogether. Programs
for the youth. And one thing that I do after reading through it all, it's called the Blueprint for Fighting Crime right here. You have a lot of things that say expand. There's some of the adjectives, expand, revitalize, lessen some fees here, revive, reform. They all sound like they cost money. Where's the money going to come from?
Well, actually, I've been very careful to have a plan, and you'll see this throughout my plans, that if it costs money, then we identify where there's savings to make it a more cost-effective system as a whole. And I actually think this is a plan that ultimately will not only make our systems fair and more effective, but will even save money. Because one of the things I talk about is we spend so much time and effort arresting people basically for being poor and addicted to drugs, these low-level misdemeanor drug offenses, which clog our system, distract the system from dealing with violence and gun crimes and the things that really matter and are hurting people in the city. And how do you move those crimes into the public health sector, which is a vastly more cost-effective and humane, and also reduces recidivism much more more strongly than
breaking the cycle.
Exactly, breaking the cycle, and that saves money.
You're saying 40% of people that are actually released from prison will end up back in there for Baltimore. What about name, though? I know that you worked for, in your titles for yourself in the prosecutor's office, but as a name, you're going up against a state senator, you're going up against a Mosby, a councilman, and also a former mayor. How do you get your name in there then?
Well, what I said in my announcement speech at City College was, you may not know me yet, but you will. And so that's my job as a candidate, is to introduce myself to everybody in Baltimore. And we're doing that through going door to door, going to people's houses and speaking to groups of friends and family. We're going everywhere in the city. Now we're up on television, so I'm introducing myself across the city. But I think there's this enormous appetite in the city for new leadership that's effective and that is not old politics, stale politics. We have to do better in the city. So I've had a great reception and the momentum's building.
Okay. All right. Elizabeth Hembrick, thank you so much
for
coming in.
Thank you.
We
It's such a
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Yes, good luck.
Thank you.
Well, coming up, would you be interested in working out while holding a nice glass of Pinot? What? That's a push-up right there. How one woman's wine workout, go figure, is going viral. 8:52 is the time. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Online video is creating smiles for people who are normally frustrated by exercise. A Northern California woman created the, ready for this, wine workout and posted it on her fitness Facebook page. Evan Schreiber met the woman behind the footage that went viral.
As a mother to a toddler, 24-year-old April Story knows her time is limited. And like many mothers know, healthy living can be a struggle.
It's a little bit harder with kids.
Home with her daughter Brielle and her husband Levi on Monday, the busy life was on display. But what resulted has now been seen by roughly 25 million people worldwide. The 15-second video posted in January, now dubbed the wine workout.
I was getting ready to do a workout and I saw the wine there, and I'm like, you know, that would be kind of funny to incorporate wine into this workout video.
Story tells me this is her life. Simple, everyday home exercises. Not necessarily always the wine. That was just one of the dozens of non-alcohol included workout videos she's posted.
That's what Facebook is for, right? Just sharing all the things that we're doing every day.
That sharing spread worldwide. One post from former Star Trek actor George Takei saying, quote, "Quit whining and work out," to his 9 million followers. Posting the video with a slightly different music variation.
It makes fitness fun.
Most of the comments have been positive. There have been a few negative reactions about her hurting herself, falling on the wine, but most of the people have been doing like what I'm doing, sending back their own videos and pictures.
They were making their own videos, they were doing different things with it.
No matter the number of recreations or comments, both positive and negative, Story is hoping they all get the message.
What I want to show people with my videos is that fitness is something you can do every day, you can do it anywhere, and you can use anything.
In this case, just don't forget the corkscrew.
Well, coming up, the rain continues to fall, which means the list of accidents out on the road continues to grow. Take a look at some of this video here at Ruxton Road. Candace has a look at the biggest trouble areas that you're going to want to avoid. 8:57 is the time. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.